All right, so read this introduction. This session is being audio recorded just like every other P&Z meeting. Please be advised that today we are also recording the video as well. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting. They'll keep video of themselves on throughout the meeting. During public hearings, all normal rules, including stating and spelling your name, apply. Please use the chat feature to raise your hand to speak, and you will be recognized. All right, so call to order. We have Larry Shelby. Chris is alternate. We'll elevate. Karen is here. Sarah is here. Alice is here. So I think we're just missing Daryl. I believe that's right. All right. So we have a couple of adds to the agenda. Do I hear a motion to add 6B6 with special events permit application? Allison Palmer Studios, Katz Palmer, 48 Stone Fence Lane. Request for open house December 14th or 22nd. We'll do this one by one. Do I hear a motion for that?
Motion to approve application 6B, or to approve the addition of application 6B6.
Great. Thanks, Sarah.
Second.
Thanks, Larry. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, so we'll add that to the end of the agenda. And item 9C, correspondence from Stoneback, added to the agenda. Do I hear a motion on that?
Motion to approve the addition.
Yep. Larry?
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
So all in favor, signify by raising your hand. All right. So those two, that was it, Tara, right?
Those were the two. Yep.
All right. So reading approval of minutes, November 14. Does anyone have anything on that? Look pretty straightforward to me.
Can I just, does that mean we've been approved for this thing? Or?
No, they'll listen to us.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
So this is the approval of minutes of November 14. Okay. Hearing none, is someone like to make a motion that we accept them?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of our last meeting.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
I'll second that. Web.
Thanks. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay. Thank you very much. So is anyone in the audience wishing to communicate orally that's not on the agenda tonight? All right, so hearing none, why don't we move into the first item of business?
I'm sorry, I thought I raised my hand.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Dave, yes.
Yeah, Dave Stoneback.
Stoneback, yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the commission. My name is Dave Stoneback, Stoneback. My wife and I live at 11 Stone Fences Lane. We're new to Connecticut, having moved here from Chicagoland area after I retired at the end of last year. We moved to Connecticut for its beauty, and one reason we chose to live in our home on Stone Fences was because it's located on a private road with only 20 other lots. This seemed like the perfect place to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life. But we began to notice way more traffic, most of it speeding, than we expected on our little private road, and eventually learned that the majority of this traffic was going to the Clay Studio located at 48 Stone Fences Lane. After seeing an advertisement for yet another upcoming event at the studio in December, we notified the land use administrator of this event and of all the other prior events. This led to a letter being sent to the property owners by the land use office and ultimately to the special events permit application, which is being considered tonight as agenda item 6B6. It is our opinion that the applicant has demonstrated blatant disregard of the Kent zoning ordinance and permit process and total disrespect for the other residents on Stone Fences Lane. The applicant has already, at a minimum, conducted 14 workshops or events at their property during 2024 without seeking a permit from Kent or authorization by the association board. A list of these events is provided in a PDF titled 9C Attachment A in tonight's packet on the public drive and can be verified by going to the Allison Palmer Studio website. All of these were held in violation of the zoning code without approval of the association board. Their current application for this special event is for 9 consecutive days, December 14th through December 22nd, and indicates that it is a gallery showing. This seems to be unusually long special event duration for an event held in a rural zoning district. Well, what their application doesn't indicate is that they're also hosting a workshop concurrent with the so-called gallery showing from 10 to 5 on December 15th that costs $125 to attend. The drawing on their application indicates that there's room for 10 vehicles to park. There may be more room, but that's what's shown on their application. It also indicates that they estimate 25 attendees over the weekend. Does that count? Their estimate of 25 include the people that have signed up for the workshop? Does their application indicate true spirit of the Kent permitting process by omitting this workshop from their application? Their website indicates future workshops in 2025 through 2027, with the first workshop scheduled for January 11th and 12th, 2025. Will the applicant be back at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting scheduled for January 9th to request a special events permit for that event, or just continue to blatantly abuse the zoning code? Well, the Planning and Zoning Commission may consider this the first special event in 2024 for this applicant, since it's the first time they submitted a permit application. The residents of Stone Fences clearly do not believe this is the case. The Stone Fences Association covenants and restrictions indicate that approval of this type of event, a business open to the public within the association property, would need approval of both Kent zoning and the association board. However, the applicant has not contacted the association regarding this or any other event. This again demonstrates their disrespect to the association and the fellow residents on Stone Fences. For all these reasons, we respectfully request that the commission deny the application under consideration in agenda item 6B6. Additionally, another longtime resident on Stone Fences crafted a letter objecting to the application, but he didn't submit it in time to be included in the public packet and unfortunately cannot attend tonight. Is it acceptable for me to read his letter into the minutes, onto the record? I'm asking.
I suppose it would be, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I still have not received that letter at all. But yeah, sure, he can read or say whatever he'd like.
Okay, I'll just read his letter. It's from James Little of 29 Stone Fences Lane. His last name is Little, Little. And his letter says, to the commission and board members of the Kent Zoning Commission, I am writing in opposition to the special event permit being requested by Allison Palmer Studio on Stone Fences Lane from December 14th to December 22nd, 2024. Throughout the last few years, these events have been occurring more regularly all year long. The traffic on our private road was increased considerably, and speeds these cars are traveling have been dangerous. Walking my dogs during these times has become more dangerous for my family and dogs, as well as others in the neighborhood. Their flyer states that in addition to the shows, they will be open from 10 to 5 for viewing and retail sales. During the holiday season, a lot of traffic should be anticipated. Understand this is one event, but this is 9 days, and there have been upwards of 14 of these events this year alone, not including classes. Thank you, James Little. That's all I have. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Great. Thank you, Dave, very much.
Can I answer that?
I didn't
Uh,
raise your hand.
Brad Lehman.
Oh, wait. Okay.
So we have this in an application. We're not hearing the application right now. Dave asked that he insert this under oral, so we'll hear this application at the end.
Sorry, everybody. Parents are starting to arrive, so I have to go. Christine's going to handle our application. Dave, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt yours. Thank you all. I just on behalf of myself and my wife, we're really hoping to have a place to live on camp this summer that our kids can stay in. So I trust Christine with the application, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't stay for the full hearing. I really appreciate your consideration. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Brad.
How do I exit?
So
How do I reply?
Steve, the application will be heard later on.
I can't reply to Dave Stonebeck's.
No.
Okay.
So let's move on then to old business.
Excuse me, I apologize. Would you like me to speak during, I'm also speaking on 6B6. Would you like me to speak now or later in the agenda?
Well, it's on the agenda, so later, please.
So later, okay.
So Wes, it isn't a public hearing though, just so that you know. That's not, 6B6 is not a public hearing.
Correct. Oh, yes, that's correct. So Denise, please. If you have something to say, please.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Wang Stoneback, and that's spelled Stoneback, also of 11 Stone Fences Lane. And I'm here in opposition to the special event permit requested by 48 Stone Fences Lane, agenda item 6B6. So as you've heard, my husband and I recently moved to South Kent from the Chicagoland area. We came here seeking peace and quiet, and the house we bought on Stone Fences Lane seemed ideal. The houses are spaced apart on lots, many with 3 or more acres, affording privacy. And the private road was perfect for our daily walks to enjoy wildlife, trees, and get fresh air and exercise. We decided to invest in a home in a private development, reassured that the rules and regulations of Kent and the Homeowners Association would protect us from the public noise and traffic generated by businesses open to the public, which we had encountered at our previous residence. To our dismay, since we have moved here full-time, traffic has increased considerably. The speed of the cars coming down the road is not only disruptive on our daily walks, but also of concern for safety. Cars coming down the road disregard the speed limit, which is posted at 20 miles an hour. I know I'm not alone in my concern. Other neighbors have expressed concern about the safety of themselves, their families, and their pets due to the traffic generated by the events, workshops, and classes at 48 Stone Fences. I would also like to note that there are households with children in our association. In fact, if this were not a last-minute addition to the agenda, I believe there would be more people here tonight to speak in opposition. The proposed event has not been approved by the Stone Fences Association. The applicants organized, planned, and publicly promoted the 9-day event without permission of either the Planning and Zoning Board or the Stone Fences Association. They acted with complete disregard for the Kent zoning law and their neighbors, and just now are at the last minute requesting a permit from the commission. However, it's my understanding that they have not requested permission from the Stone Fences Association, which is required under the covenants and restrictions of the association. As a society, we establish laws to protect the rights of all citizens. As a citizen and a resident, I ask that you deny the special event permit before you. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you. All right, so again, Steve, this is your application, so we'll hear this at the end. Is there anyone else in the audience that has something to say on this from the public before we move on. All right, so hearing none, let's move on to old business. And that would be application 2724 SP and 2824 C. Camp Kenmont LL or KMKW, I suppose that's Kenmont, LLC, 65 Kenmont Road. The addition of the construction of a 4-bedroom director's cabin and well and septic. So this is a public hearing, so let me read in the public statement. The Town of Kent Planning and Zoning Commission shall hold a public hearing via Zoom meeting on Thursday, December 12th, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. to discuss and possibly act on application 2724 SP 28-24C KMKW Land LLC, 65 Kenmont Road, map 10, block 22, lot 51, for the construction of a 4-bedroom director's cabin with well and septic. All corresponding documentation will be attached to the agenda, which can be found on the town's website. At this hearing, persons may participate and be heard. The Zoom meeting number can be located on the official agenda, which shall be on file at the Town of Kent's website, a minimum of 48 hours prior to official Zoom meeting. Submitted, Wesley Wire, Chairman.
Wes,
Yes.
I need to recuse myself for this one.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Okay, so Brad had to leave. Was it the architect that was here?
Yes. Hi, Christine
Yes.
Gray.
Where's Christine? How are you?
Good. How are you? Would you like me to start by presenting the project? How would you like to proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't believe that we have received DEEP approval of septic. So we'll
Correct.
probably have to table this and move on. But if you want to, make the presentation, that would be great.
Sure, sure. So I just sent Ty, it was this afternoon, so you may have not received it, the septic design from SLR Consulting for the, we're proposing a new cabin for the camp director. That was Brad that you saw here. The camp is under new ownership. They are slowly renovating the cabins for the campers and also looking to provide better accommodation for the camp counselors. What we are proposing to do is to convert the existing or allow the camp counselors to use what is currently used as the camp director's cabin. And we would like to build a newer camp director's cabin for Brad and his children. We are proposing a 4-bedroom, single-story, just about 1,500 square foot building. It is single-family residential, but because we are on the camp, it must comply with Section 6600 of the zoning regulations, which governs youth camps. And so we are here for this special permit. Because it is the camp director's cabin, we have located it a little bit away from the main activities of the camp. So it's about 100-acre lot. There is one very nice, flat, easily accessible field. I believe it used to be maybe a small runway for small aircraft. And given our time constraints, we would like to get this built before camp opens next summer. We selected a site that would require the least amount of site work. That's it.
Terrific. So what is the progress on the septic approval? It has to go to Torrington Area Health, but it also needs to be approved by DEEP.
So interestingly enough, Kathy Weber said that she didn't have any approval over this.
Oh, she did.
So I think she doesn't. So it's
Alright.
just DEEP. I don't believe, since I got that site plan today and it has a 12/12 date on it, I believe it has yet to be submitted. So, but hopefully maybe that today or tomorrow.
All right. So I can appreciate your schedule. But you need to go through foundations. This is not the most expeditious time to start a
Correct.
project in the ground.
Correct.
But we would move just as quickly as we could once all the information is provided to us.
Yep, we were all hoping, given the climate these days, that like last year was a very mild winter. So we're honestly hoping for warm weather in January. We'd like to get started as soon as possible. I was going to request, and of course it's just a request, conditional approval of the zoning application once we receive DEP approval, if that's something you would consider.
Ty, as a procedure, can you see this?
Now, well, actually, so the site plan was just updated today based on Gary Hawk's review, because you also have to have the approval of emergency services, access to the site. So some tweaking was done. And I don't believe that he has had an opportunity to look at it again, or if he has, I haven't received anything from him saying that he accepts it. So we're not certain that we have proper emergency service access, and it sounds like the new plan has just gone to the DEP today. So I think giving conditional approval on both of those things might be a little bit risky. Those are two requirements of your camp regulations, special permit, site plan approval.
So if we table this, the next meeting is in January, is that right?
That's
Would
right.
it be
The 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
9th? Okay. I mean, I think realistically, we're probably not going to get anything in the ground between now and January 9th anyway. So it would be a simple continuation to the meeting of the 9th?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? And commissioners, any commentary?
Just that your expectations of the weather may be a little premature.
Well, we can always dream, right?
Right, exactly. Fingers crossed.
That's why we're here.
Just speaking as a single commissioner and one who drives by the camp every single day, many times a day, I know where it's being located. It is well off the road, and it seems very straightforward. It's designed as a cabin, so certainly appropriate architecturally for the camp.
Thank you.
So I do think that we need to receive all the information. So we would also table the public hearing. The public hearing would still remain open until the next regular meeting. So I would need a motion to table this until the next regular meeting. Do I hear that?
I move that we table this application until January.
Thank you, Larry.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, so Christine, we'll see you next month.
See you in January.
All right.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
All right, so moving along to 6B1, application 2924C, Veronica and Oliver Kinsey, 28 Iron Mountain Road, map 10, block 41, lot 23, additions within the horizon lines. This is not a public hearing. This is a special permit. Is there someone here to present?
Wes, can I speak up quickly again? I need to recuse myself again. This is
Wow.
an ongoing thing tonight.
Wow. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Hi, this is Veronique Kinsey. I was hoping just to answer any questions that you guys might have on this application.
Sure. So it's a good 100 feet away from Iron Mountain Road. The additions proposed are in the front of the house, and I assume that is where the viewpoint is taken for horizon line. Is this a single-story house?
No, this is a two-story house, and actually it's the reverse. So the road for Iron Mountain, we are on the back of our house faces what would be Richards Road, Spectacle Ridge, that way. We basically have that lovely cell phone tower at Dubrays in our view in the winter. But we actually don't even have a view because the trees completely block us. So you actually cannot see our house in summer or winter from anywhere.
All right, I don't, but the additions are towards the front of the house. Is that correct? Towards Iron Mountain Road?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a two-story dwelling, and these are single-story additions?
Yes, it is just a single extension to an existing structure.
Okay. Are there any trees proposed to come down?
Nope.
Right. All right. That's very straightforward. I have driven by, and I think it's pretty well landscaped, and it is over 100 feet from the front line. Does any other commissioner have anything that they'd like to add to this?
Wes, just a couple of quick questions, because it's in the staff report and just sort of reading through this a little bit more and thinking about reflection. And can you talk a little bit more about the lighting scenario and also the metal roof that's been proposed?
What do you mean by lighting? Like it's an extension to the existing house? So are you asking whether or not there's going to be any additional lighting versus what's currently there?
Yep, correct.
No, so on the front of the house, we have obviously like an exterior light, and that light will just be like the extension itself is, there's no exterior lighting being added to that extension.
Right. So the first part of it is a porch, right? It's a covered porch.
So yes, so currently there is a I guess you could call it like an alcove. That is our front entry. And then where the alcove is, we are putting a porch. In the porch, there will be some recessed lights.
I see that.
Under the porch, but nothing else beyond that.
Right. So by definition, it's directed down.
Yes. And then in terms of the roof, again, the metal roof that we're looking to add, if you've seen the house, it's black. We're looking to do a black metal roofing on the porch and on the addition.
Mhm.
And is that currently what exists on the house?
No, we have like just architectural sort of
Asphalt shingle.
asphalt, yeah, tiles, yeah.
And then the pitch of the porch is a shallower pitch than the pitch of the house roof?
Correct.
Yeah.
Our most pitches on the roof that we have currently are quite steep. And then this is just, we're keeping it as low as possible because of the second floor windows.
Right. Yes, of course. All right. Any commissioners have anything else that they might add to this? For me, this is very straightforward. We have these horizon line regulations in for a purpose it's certainly not prohibitive in what we build, but that we examine by special permit what is going to happen. Since this is single story against a two-story house, I don't really see the impact on height. Horizon line is a matter of height. So that's my 2 cents. Anyone else?
Well, my 3 cents is there's no clear cutting, and that's of course very important in
Yes,
horizon.
right, but they stated they would not.
That's right.
Yeah, in this area where the extension will be, there are no trees.
Right.
All right, so do I hear a motion to approve this application? So,
Wes, I move that we approve application 6B1, application 29-24C, Veronique and Oliver Kinsey, 28 Iron Mountain Road, map 10, block 41, lot 23, additions within the horizon line.
Alice,
Was that okay?
that's perfect.
Thank you, Alice. Anyone else?
I second.
Thank you, Shelby.
Mhm.
Okay, any further discussion on this? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay. So.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Well, all right, so the next application is South Kent. And Sarah, I think you.
Yeah, I need to recuse myself. Thank you.
Yeah. Application 30-24C, South Kent School. To create a salt shed in a pre-existing location. Is there someone here from Kent School that would like to?
Sure. My name is Jeff Galusha. I'm the plant manager at South Kent School. Thank you all for putting this together for us and allowing us to have this place to talk about these things. So what we'd like to do is simply, at the risk of sounding, however, just improve where we've always stored our salt. And when I say salt, I mean the stuff we spread around campus during the winter times. Historically, it's been stored in this bin, which has no roof to it. What we'd like to do is pour a concrete floor underneath it and then build a structure over top that keeps the weather, particularly the rain and the snow, off the salt and keeps the salt dry and a lot easier to use. The building was built 20 or so years ago. If you look down through my application, you can see there's an existing foundation that was put here with the intent of being enclosed at some point, but it never was done. I've been at the school about 1.5 years or so, and this is one of the things I've been trying to get us to be able to accomplish. So there's a pre-existing footing, a pre-existing concrete foundation. And what we would do is pour a floor and then build a roof over top of it to protect the salt. It would look very similar to, but just much smaller than the salt shed that the state of Connecticut has on South Kent Road. It's basically 3 sides and a roof. And I think the pictures kind of explain it, and I'd be happy to field any questions.
Well, I know South Kent School, and I know that the plant, it's well beyond out of view of any road, and it's basically out of view of the campus itself. So I think this is very straightforward. I really only have one question. Or were you in San Francisco?
No. I'm on Skiff Mountain Road.
Things have changed. I'm sorry, the walls are pre-existing and are remaining?
Yes. Yep. I'm simply going to build 2 Neen walls because it's going to abut the existing maintenance building. So I basically need to come across out 12 feet and then down 18 feet on top of the existing foundation. I'm going to build 5-foot walls and then put a roof attaching to the side of the maintenance shed. And that gives us sufficient height for a triaxle to back in and dump the salt in there for the winter months. The other thing is, in the summertime, we're going to park our backhoe in there so it doesn't live outside in the rain all the time.
Any additional
How have
lighting?
you kept the, I'm sorry, how have you kept the salt dry before this application?
Oh, it comes from a place up in Massachusetts. Oh, how have we kept it before? Well, we haven't.
Yeah.
We have
Oh, okay.
not kept it dry. We've tried to put tarps over it, which makes
Oh,
it
okay.
very difficult to load soupy
Yeah.
salt into the back of our sanders and try to get it around campus.
Yeah, I imagine. Mhm.
Was there a question about lighting?
Yes, Jeff, what about lighting?
Yeah, the only light there's lighting on the outside of the building on the corners as it is. The light that we would add would be a light inside the salt shed so that we can see at night when we need to get in there to scoop up salt to load into the trucks.
Do you think that light would be seen from the road?
Well, if you couldn't, I don't know if someone can share the screen and show the plot map.
I see the plot map.
Yep. Do you see where the purple thing is? The little
Yep.
purple dot? I don't think that's going to get to the road. I really don't. First of all, for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's a lot of space between there. Well, if you can see that light, you can see the 4 lights that are on the building already. I guess I would say, for one thing. Secondly, the light is going to be underneath the roof in the back corner of the salt shed, which does not really face the road.
Okay.
Not to mention the fact there's hundreds of lights in South Kent.
Yeah.
There are quite a few.
All right, any other comments on this application? Seems to me to be not only practical, but probably environmentally the thing to do.
I would agree. I know I'm asking for it, but I would agree wholeheartedly. This will actually keep our salt out of the ground, which is a very important thing.
Yeah. All right. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve this application?
We have waivers to
Do we have waivers?
1, 3, 5, 6, 11.
Yes, please.
I make a motion, we accept the waivers 1, 3, 5, 6, 11. And it looks like there's a couple circled down below, which would have been in 13, maybe A and B for this application. And do I need to read the application?
No, on the waivers.
Application 30-24C.
Here's a second.
I'll say,
Thank you, Larry. All right, any further discussion on waivers? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, now on to the application. Chris, you're on a roll.
Let's see. I will make a motion that we approve application number 30-24C for South Kent School for a create a salt shed in a pre-existing location.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Larry. All right, any discussion on the motion? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, motion approved. All right, Jeff,
Okay, thank you very much.
you're welcome. All right, so next application is a pre-application review for Kent Affordable Housing, South Commons expansion, Maple Street. Is there someone here to speak to this?
Hello, this is Justin Potter, the president of Kent Affordable Housing. And Laura Crowley is here as well from Shadler Sellnow, the architects. And Jocelyn Ayer from the Litchfield County Center for Housing Opportunities here as well. So this spring, we received conditional approval to acquire 1.15 acres of land from the town of Kent, subject to the approvals from needed for construction. And over the summer, we retained Shadler Sellnow to work with us to create some plans, some architectural plans for what we can do here. And we have something to run by the commission to get your feedback. We had initially considered sort of design with multiple buildings, but there's some issues with that, and we moved to a single building design, which would allow us to include an elevator, which is a sort of important amenity for our aging population in Kent, and in terms of the Kent affordable housing community. This would also provide the benefit of sort of reducing the footprint of the building on this parcel. And we consider two concepts here, a 1.5 level building and a 2.5 level building. We had a pre-application meeting with Inland Wetlands, and there seemed to be a preference for the 2.5 level building, which would reduce the footprint and the potential wetland impact. And we might also be able to shift the building to the east and get it further out of the wetland area. To do this, we are going to need planning and zoning to exercise the flexibility given to it in section 6400 regarding setbacks and heights and a few other things. And so we're interested in getting your feedback on what you see here.
Justin, is this a wood framed building, cement foundation, and what kind of roof?
Laura.
Hi, everyone. Yes, it is a wood frame building with a concrete foundation. We're calling it 2.5 stories because the lower portion, we're going to have kind of a walkout because of the grades.
What kind of roofing?
So it's just going to be wood frame roofing, either trusses, engineered trusses, or 2-bys.
And the roofing itself, is that asphalt? Is it metal?
Asphalt. Sorry, asphalt.
Is there a conflict with number of units in a single building?
Yeah.
Yes, this would be slightly over.
Yeah.
What is that conflict?
So there's 10 units per acre of buildable land. And this would be 11.5 acres for the 1.15 acres that are there. So they're proposing a little bit more than that. But if you drop down to 6433. You can actually, in your own regulations, you allow yourself to amend and reduce the minimum lot size requirements, increase the maximum lot coverage limitation, and reduce the minimum yard setback requirements. So a lot of the things have a lot of wiggle room when it's affordable housing. So
When
you
it's
really,
affordable housing,
you
that-
really gave yourself the authority to vary those requirements.
So is there a limitation on that, or is it wide open for zoning to make exceptions?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so
these regulations, basically say, that they shall comply with dimensional standards for the zoning district where, except that the commission may, as authorized by CGS section 8-2-I, as may be amended, and as part of the special permit application, and then, reduce the minimum lot size, the maximum coverage, and the yard setbacks. So, yeah, that's the exception. You may do it, and it doesn't really give any kind of limitations in your
So
regulations.
this is really just one unit over what they could do with their acreage?
1.5.
1.5, okay.
So, and we looked at a 19 unit design, which seems to be the maximum practical number of units you could get on this parcel. And we felt that it was just too tight for that. And that would have been the 1.5 story layout plus another story. So a 2.5 story one, but then you run into issues with parking as well. So this 13 units seems to be a comfortable number and will give us allow us to create the units we need while sort of avoiding encroaching too much into the regulated area for inland wetlands.
Right. Do any other commissioners see any roadblocks here? This is a pre-application, it's not an application.
Wes, I don't know if this is a roadblock, but when you're constructing 2 stories, 2.5 stories, whatever, is there any concern about lighting? I know that sounds crazy, but I just thought I'd ask.
Doesn't sound crazy, Alice.
Well, it's a special permit, so those.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. The higher up you go, are you creating light? I don't know.
So
Just a
I
question.
don't think they would be seeking any relief from the height restriction.
No,
Right.
We will be seeking some relief from that. So where's the table? Laura put together a nice table here.
Are you talking about the maximum building height?
Correct.
So yeah, right now it looks like it's 30 feet is required, and our average is around 34 feet 7 inches to be really precise. So we're about 4 feet 5 feet above.
At the roof line, at the top of the roof?
That's a median roof line.
So Ty, would this constitute an appeal on this?
I believe so, yes.
Right.
So architecturally, but we have the sort of the gable roof. We could take it down to a flat roof, but in the context of Kent, that would
No,
we have them, but
those things can be argued, and it's taken to the mean level of the roof.
Yeah.
And we could also work with different pitches, not a 12-12 or, a lower pitch. So your height is lower down.
Looks like you have an 8 pitch now. Is that the?
Let me just check.
Yeah, that's what it says on here. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, you're correct. Yep, 8 pitch.
So we would also like to look into the possibility of putting solar on the roof. So that's going to be a part of the consideration as well. So
that was actually my question for you, Justin. How is this going to be powered, and what does the energy efficiency look like?
Yeah, so one of the big reasons we hired Shadler Cell now is they are very focused on creating extremely efficient buildings with very tight envelopes. And so from that perspective, it should be the absolute top of the line. With the one building design on a smaller footprint, geothermal is likely could very well be feasible, which we would very much like to do. The way affordable housing works is, we get the funding from the state and from other sources to build the structure, and then the rents are determined by the operating costs. So if we can, create a structure that has very low operating costs, it'll give us a lot of flexibility in terms of really keeping the rents affordable. So we are looking forward to investigating all the bells and whistles in terms of making this energy efficient. So.
Yeah, that was a question also in consideration of the rents and bringing people in, is that the more energy efficient it can be, the less expensive overall the building. And quickly, if I may, I've just to sort of build on Alice's question about the lighting. I think perhaps that's in consideration of dark skies, and it's in the middle of town. We had some pretty sincere conversations with the library about how they were doing their lighting. And I think that would apply for this too, to make sure that for residents who live in town, that this doesn't create a situation. Light pollution situation.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and my profession, of course, but I'm thinking that a metal roof and solar, and then electric, maybe AC split units for each, heating and cooling, instead of going geothermal. But, at least you would have some savings for each unit with the solar. The solar would power during the day for them. The lighting, of course, that's definitely a concern. If we could get some sort of idea of what's going to be, are you going to have post lamps out that are lighting down? What kind of lighting is going to be on the exterior of the building? And then how tall is this building in comparison to the other buildings that are in South Commons?
This would be a bit taller, but it's also at a lower elevation. So in terms of sort of the overall context, it's sort of a wash. It is going to be more visible than the existing South Common buildings in terms of it's going to be right next to the parking lot for the tennis courts. So that is something that we will be taking into consideration. And we're sort of in the very preliminary stages here. Next step is going to be working on the sort of the landscaping, and we'll bring the civil engineer in to figure out how we're going to handle all the water and all the fun infrastructure aspects of it.
All right. Well, I will say the one thing that that we could not overrule is the height restriction, the zoning height restriction. So you probably need to seek an appeal from that regulation before we could act on.
Sounds good.
I think you're going to need to look pretty closely at your outdoor lighting. You're going to have path lighting, security lighting.
Yeah, but more for
they've made a lot of advances in terms of providing effective lighting without creating light pollution. So
yeah, but each window, lit up at night without curtains drawn, that creates light pollution too. So.
Right. So Justin, do you think that you have enough here to move on?
Yes. If you have anything else, any other comments, we'd love to hear them now before we send Laura back to start refining the plans. So
I think there's some opportunities for mechanical and electrical conservation here.
Yeah,
need to be looked at closely.
Absolutely. That's one of the wonderful things about creating affordable housing is it allows us to sort of bring in all the cutting edge technology, and there are a ton of incentives available now for, for efficiency and creating buildings that are much more efficient than the ones built in the past. So
Justin, I assume, maybe I missed it, but did we discuss parking at all? Like if there are ever how many units, is there enough room for everybody to have 2 cars or whatever?
So there are 21 spaces provided here for 13 units. Now we have excess parking over at South Common.
Right.
So we would like to figure out what the optimal parking is. Be adequately parked, but not over parked.
Yeah.
Because parking lots that have costs, financial and environmental. So we'll be looking into that and doing a parking analysis to see how how many cars are actually registered over at South Common, and see if we can maybe have reserved parking spaces for every unit. But then if someone has 2 or 3 cars or something, they get to park over at South Common. Section 8200 allows the shared parking. So
right.
So since this is brand new, do we incorporate any type of electric car charging for this?
Probably most likely, yes. It's, I think it might be a regulation now. So, yeah.
All right, so it sounds like you have some work to do.
Yeah, we have a greenish light to move forward, which it sounds like. So.
Well, I mean, I don't hear any major objections.
Yeah, exactly.
We need an application.
Yeah, of course. And we very much appreciate the opportunity to run this by you and get informal feedback so we can have some direction before we put forward the formal application.
Terrific.
So thank you.
Great. Thanks for utilizing this process.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. All right, so I guess we're moving into our favorite item, 6B.4, the annual meeting and review of the bylaws.
Wes, I just wanted to note that Daryl did join the meeting at 7:50.
Just in time.
Great. All right, so Ty, what should on the bylaws? I mean, I don't have any additions. Does any commissioners see anything in the bylaw that they want to speak to? I don't know that we need further revisions, but maybe we do.
From what I read today, we're supposed to have a secretary. Who's our secretary?
Ty, I don't know who is secretary.
Remember Adam? I thought Adam used to be the secretary.
He was. Yeah, he was.
So yeah, you're gonna need a new one.
It's a secretary or a paid clerk. So do we have?
No, that's something different. So, yeah, I mean, there's a position for treasurer and there's a position for secretary, but they're both deferred to staff for the most part. But in case you had to do like a letter or something like that, the secretary might take care of that if you wanted them to.
We did vote in January of last year. Don't we have an informal secretary? Because I'm the sort of informal treasurer.
You are. I don't remember. Honestly.
Usually that person is the same, treasurer and secretary.
So it's a shared role. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's me then.
That's you.
Okay. All right, and
Yeah,
so
I wasn't volunteering, by the way.
all right, Ty, do we need to speak any more about the annual meeting, or?
You just have to make a motion to approve the bylaws as written for this year. Yeah, every year you have to approve that.
Right.
And my question to you, Ty, would just be based on everything that's occurred this year, or any variations or changes at the state level, do you see anything that we should be addressing in changes to the bylaws or?
No,
Mhm.
nothing that jumps out, that I had in mind. I think last year there was some tweaking, and I think it's up to date.
I make a motion, we approve our bylaws as written.
Chris,
I'll second that.
thank you, Karen. Any further discussion? All in favor? Raising your hand. Okay. So we'll keep the bylaws as is. And then the next item is election of officers. So I would continue to serve as chairman unless there's someone else that would like to step up. And Karen, are you still good for vice chair?
Sure.
Okay. And then Sarah, you're treasurer and secretary. Unless there's other nominations, I submit that we approve this as a single slate. Do we hear that motion?
Motion to approve the slate.
Second.
Thanks, Chris. All in favor? All right. So here we go again.
One more time around the moon,
All right.
around the sun, I'm sorry.
All right, so then the application that we added to the agenda. 6B.6, the special events permit application.
Wes, I need to recuse myself for this one also.
Boy, man, you were on a roll.
He knows everybody.
Okay. So we've heard from some neighbors. Would you, Mr. Katz and Allison, would you like to speak to your situation here?
Yes. Mr. Stoneback got a lot of things wrong. He moved here with his wife in the latter part of June, of this June. Okay. We've been here for 16 years with our studio. We've lived here in the same house for 26 years. In that 16 years that we've been doing this, having workshops and stuff like that, we have no complaints whatsoever. If we did, we would have taken them seriously. We never had it. We have workshops, maybe 10 a year, because we have to cancel some because people don't show up, nobody signs up. The demographic of our workshops are women from 40 to 60 years old. They usually drive 20 miles an hour. The next question is, I believe there are 24 houses and stone fences. I'm not sure, but I think it's 24 houses. If you multiply that by 2, you have 48 cars. Stone fences is a very short road. I would like to know how Mr. Stoneback thinks that everybody that's driving down stone fences is coming up our driveway. That's insane. I mean, people come, they come at 9:30, they leave at 5 o'clock. These are older women. The other thing is, we do not advertise on Facebook, as he said. We don't advertise anywhere. We never pay for advertising. We just let people know by email, and we have a community of potters that are in touch with us, and that's what we do. The next point is this upcoming event. Basically, we were going to do 2 weekends, and then we decided nobody's going to come to this. And so we decided just to have an open house. The open house to us means Allison's going to be sitting there making pottery, and our friend Tomas is going to be sitting there. Sometimes I'm not going to even be there this weekend. I have a gig down in New Jersey. We expect maybe 2 to 3 people per day at the most, because we've already had our major sales for the holidays, and we don't do business. We don't sell out of our studio at all. We do mail order through Shopify, and people get in touch with us because we show things on Facebook,
we
of
go
course,
out
and
to
they'll call
shows.
us. Yeah, and
We do shows.
but we've been doing this for 16 years, living here, as Karen Casey knows, because she got us our house, for 26 years. I don't know if Karen remembers, but for 26 years, 16 years, nobody said anything. There are not that many cars coming up to our place. When you think of all the cars that are in stone fences, when you think of the delivery trucks, when you think of the renovations that go on constantly, when you think of people like our next door neighbor, for instance, who we love, using their leaf blowers all the time and lawnmowers, we never complain. It doesn't bother us, and we just. I think that this guy comes in with his wife, moves in at the end of June, and all of a sudden he thinks that he's walking down a country road. Stone Fences Lane is not a country road, and it's not owned by the Allison Palmer Studio. It's 24 houses, 2 cars each, and deliveries, et cetera, driving up and back and forth. It's not just us.
And if it bothered them so much, why didn't they come to us and see if we could work something out? I mean, I just feel like we're being attacked by them going into town hall.
Well, he's like stalking us. He's going in and looking at all our records, looking at our Facebook pages
and our
website and complaining
just
about this because he can't be quiet. He can't walk quietly along this country road, which is really not a country road.
That's true.
I think maybe these people should live here for a little while and figure out where they actually moved before they start complaining and putting our lives in jeopardy, which right now they're doing.
So I can certainly understand your thinking that by hearing nothing, by silence, that meant that it meant compliance. You are aware that it's not according to our zoning regulations.
We did not know that.
We are remiss as far as that's concerned, and we're going to try to
yeah.
No, we have sections that do allow a home occupation type of business. It's by special permit, but we'd have to go through the process of doing that.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We did not know that.
I believe we're coming up to that next. Next, we're going to talk about our workshops. This is just about the quote event coming up in the next week or so, which is no big deal, but the workshops are a big deal. And we are going to address that soon and apply for a permit.
So Ty, you were saying that while there has been no complaint, that you are allowed a special event per year. Anyone in a residential zone is allowed this.
Right.
So.
That's right. So section 9300 under temporary uses, within any zoning district, the commission may authorize a temporary special event not listed above, limited to one such event per calendar year. And then also, in addition to this, section 10 of that 9300 speaks about special events with regard to nonprofits. And series of events with regard to nonprofits. And I did notice on their application, they did put a tax exempt number. So I'm not sure if that means that they are operating as a nonprofit. So they may fall under 9310 or 11.
We are considering nonprofit status. We thought about it for a long time, and now it may be the time to do it. We just don't know yet. We have to put a lot of thought into that. And
Yeah, 'cause this was a surprise to us.
Oh.
I
know what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
Go on.
I will pay for this after this. What I'm trying to say is a Clayway. Okay, our annual event is really Clayway. It's the artist studio tour that goes around mainly Litchfield County, and it's become
Cornwall.
and Cornwall, and it's become very big, which is not our fault. It's very popular, and people love coming to our studio, and all the studios, Joy Brown's, Todd Piker's, everybody is. It's become an institution, and that is our main thing. As far as this thing coming up this weekend, we're just going to sit there and say hi, to a couple of people. Friends are coming over. That's another thing. When friends come over, is that when they visit, and we have friends, like everybody has, they drive up our driveway. Is that considered?
I mean, how much are they going to infringe on our life? I mean, we have friends, my sister coming, it's just.
Everything's been so wonderful for us in Kent. We feel we've done, we have made many friends in Kent, and we feel we're part of this town. We made a couple mistakes. We should have applied for a permit, but this guy just moved here in June, the end of June, and is questioning our right to have our own life here.
And it wasn't even really something that we intentionally got into. I mean, as you read our letter, it was because the banks collapsed and all of our stores went out of business, that we had just built the studio, and we have a huge mortgage. We were like, what are we going to do? So that's how that evolved, because we used to go on the road all the time to do shows.
So Allison would teach, and then we would have like a guest teacher come in. I mean, this is basically educational. We have potters from last year. We had a wonderful potter, Jabalulu Nela from South Africa, Anne Met Horshash from Denmark, and she's coming again. We have Akira Kurosawa. Akira Kurosawa. Akira Matsuzaki coming from Japan. Tomu Hamada. These are people that are very well respected, and we bring business into town. Not too much, because people eat lunch in the studio. They don't go into town. They don't drive back down again.
But the inns and the Airbnbs definitely benefit from our
And if
workshops.
you look at the Testament page, if you're looking at our website, and I'm sure Mr. Stonebeck forgot to look at the Testament page, you'll see how people love to join us, the Potters, at our studio, and it's educational as well.
And this weekend, we have 4 old ladies coming in the workshop. I mean, this is, he can come up and spy on us if he wants to, but that's all that's coming to our workshop.
They don't drive more than 20 miles an hour. And if they do, they should really be put away. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Yeah.
Well,
You're
actually,
smiling.
I'm looking at your website here in advertising the open house. And it says from December 14th to 22nd, the studio will be open to the public. Come visit the studio and shop for great ceramic and mixed media work from artists, and the names of the artists. Come when you can and call for an appointment with a number, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it does suggest that you anticipate a lot of business to take place, and not just.
It suggests that, but that's just because he's a good poster maker.
That's my problem. I do the graphics also. You might notice that it's a very nice poster, and yeah, we make it sound like that, but nobody's going to come. We've done all our mail order sales for the season. It's basically a fun thing, because if Allison is sitting there making a tea kettle or something like that, then why not have people come up who are friends,
we have hot cider and cookies out, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, this is not. It's my fault, because it looks good. It looks like a store, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a
Come by
media
and see
gathering.
it.
Yeah, come on up. Everybody, please, come on up. You'll probably be alone there and there's cider, you know, and there'll be plenty left.
So this is exactly why we have the home occupation approach to
Mhm.
allow such things. Not
Mhm.
saying that it's not inappropriate, but it
Right.
does need to go through the process.
Right.
So I mean, I can't deny that this is not in compliance. I don't know how anybody else on the commission feels about it, but I do know that that we have always seen this as a single event. The testimony was that this is not the first time. There's been other events. So anyway, I've said, does other commissioners have something to say about this?
In reading through the paragraph from the Stone Fences Association Board, this seems like a situation where you do not yet have P and Z approval through the special permit. So for this particular event, it sounds like you need to go to Stone Fences Association Board and make the appeal to them for this one. And then, of course, you would come back to us in January or whenever to work through the special permitting process for home occupancy.
I don't think there's
I
time.
heard it was vice versa, that we have to get approval for this event from you. And then in January, we're gonna work on the workshops. That's how I heard it.
Well, we can't speak to the association. I mean, we have
No,
we have no jurisdiction or authority on association.
but you could give us
That's
an
their
approval or a denial, right?
It's also a little bit too late, which is, you know.
Yeah, it's in two
I mean,
days.
I'm leaving on Saturday, tomorrow's Friday, and to get the stone fences together. I'm not concerned about the stone fences. We have many friends up here that will vote in our favor. But there's just not too much time.
All right. So saying that, I mean, we would have to grant this special events permit. So how do others feel about this? Sarah, how do you feel about it?
I'm not inclined to grant it because they are operating a commercial business in a residential zone right now without a permit.
It's not a commercial
I mean, that
business.
is the fact of the matter.
I totally agree with Sarah.
Okay. We didn't know.
I feel a little differently. Obviously, there's an issue here because they don't have the proper permits. But I don't view it as a commercial property. They don't have a steady stream of people walking into a store. It's a cottage industry. And I kind of like the fact that they've been doing it for so long and nobody has complained about it. I would like to see, maybe Ty can advise us, is there any way that we can fix this temporarily and have them come in January to do their proper paperwork? Would this, have they already, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up, but have they already gone through all their special event permit, you know? Now, I mean, like, what am I trying to say? I'm stumbling. I just think that there should be a solution to this.
That's what I think too.
And I,
Well, so
and I,
do all of us. That's what.
yeah, but you know what? This is a pretty big part of our charm and attraction to our area. I like the idea of the artists live here and have their studios here.
Yeah.
And I think most people do. So they've broken the rules. They don't have the proper permit. That's it. And I also don't believe that the traffic is horrible through there. I've been in that community on and off showing other properties. So I'm just reaching out to the commission to say, how can we fix this in a fair way?
So if I could
And help
just,
them.
so if I could just speak to, you know, what I had discussed with Mr. Katz and Ms. Palmer about what the regulations allow for. So that's why they're before you for this special event permit, because there was not enough time to you know, either they'd have to cancel it or this was the only option that you would allow them through this one-time special event permit. So they've already supplied me with a statement of use, which I've shared with the fire marshal, building official, and Torrington Area Health Department. So all of those people really need to look at what they're doing and where they're doing it to make sure it's being done safely within the building fire code and all of that good stuff, and that septic can withstand the intensity. So once all of that is determined that it's all fine, then the plan was to come back to you guys with that special permit application for a major home enterprise, which is something in the regulations that you guys can allow.
But
The
that,
major-
Well, that's talking about the workshops.
Yeah,
Just
but
yeah, that occurs after this event though,
yeah,
because
in
Right,
January.
yeah.
Right. There was
But a
no,
major-
there was no time to, you know, have that ready for this.
It was all a surprise to us too, and I apologize because we always wanted to comply, and I didn't know
And we
that.
have, you know, we've gone through a bunch of permits when we first moved in, when we built our studio. You know, everybody was here for septic and et cetera, and we have been
I
compliant.
called the fire marshal whenever I fired the kiln and was diligent about the drought. You know, I waited until.
And we intend on complying.
Yeah,
And that's the
we want
most
to.
important thing. But if you want to cancel, you know, something that's people understand is happening in 2 days, that's, you know, the 4 people that might show off, you know, that's.
It really
up
won't
to
be a
you.
lot of people. We've had our clayway, and I think that's what this guy, David, is worried about, that it's going to be another clayway. But it's only because we are in between Todd
Yeah,
Piker and Joy.
He came in June.
I'm speaking.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I will pay for that.
we are between Joy and Todd Piker. And so we're a stop off point, but I do not attract that kind of traffic that.
He came up during Clayway. Clayway was huge this year. There was a lot of traffic. Everybody knew it was going to happen. That's what hopefully will be a special permit next year. It's a huge thing now. It's fantastic.
It's
and
really
people love
nice.
it.
Yeah.
And you know, this guy came up and he saw all the traffic and he saw all and I think he presumed that this is what our workshops are like, and that this coming thing is going to be like that. Well, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, please come up. You'll see like 4 people maximum, you know.
Yeah.
So we've heard from the Stonebacks. We've heard from you all.
Mhm.
This is truly a zoning a situation. So Daryl, what do you think?
Well, I'm glad that we have a path to eventually make this a permitted and sanctioned and controlled activity. In the meantime, you know, I don't know how you enforce a low level of visitation that is not out of bounds for normal residential use. You know, how do you know if 2 cars going up the driveway are 2 friends going to see them during the holidays or 2 friends going specifically to the studio?
That's right.
Even though they had the Clayway event, which would certainly, you know, be considered their special event for the year, they technically haven't filed and received permission for a special event. So they could use up their special event permit for 2024, which is almost over, to accommodate this low level activity. And then of course, pursue the official permit for the bigger event in 2025.
And we will definitely get a permit for Clayway and
Right.
talk to Joy and everybody else in the community too. We did not know this.
Yeah, so I don't doubt that you will.
Yeah.
So Shelby, what do you think? Shelby,
You're
you're
on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree with Daryl that you know, maybe this could be approved as a special event if Ty believes it's okay, but this may be, they may use up the only remaining special event for this year, but going forward, they certainly would need to get a special permit or.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
for-
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think with the special event, there should be parameters set in terms of expected audience and traffic and that sort of thing, and other
Yeah,
kinds
if
of
anybody
controls.
could help us, we would appreciate input. You know, it was just a surprise.
So Ty, for this special event, will the fire marshal have to approve this?
He already did.
Okay.
Well, and I wonder, Ty, whether special events usually occur over the course of 7 days, as this event seems to contemplate, as opposed to just one day or one afternoon, like a wedding or something. Is
Right,
that
so that's a good
unusual?
question. Yeah, no, that's a good question. The regulation really isn't clear on that. I mean, it's a little bit clearer when you talk about the nonprofits because it mentions the series of events, whereas the one special event per year, that's not a series. It doesn't say that it can't be a week long, but it almost like the assumption was always kind of like something like a wedding that would have been one day.
Well, if we did this for one weekend, we would probably have more people. And I decided that we should extend it to have less people every day. So that's why it's this long during the holiday season. So we don't get a bunch of people coming at one time. That was done purposely.
But
And we can tell people leaving to drive at 10 miles an hour if that would make David feel better.
Wes and Ty, just as a learning experience here from us, perhaps we need to look at that regulation and define what a special event is and add a time limit to it.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea because this has happened before. Which is not to justify it. I mean, it's hard for any commissioner here to justify what's going on because we can't. It's in violation.
No, I understand that. Yeah, and we are going to take care of it going forward, whether it's getting nonprofit status or what we have to do to comply. I mean, we want to be in compliance with the town.
So why don't we move on? I think we've discussed this now quite a bit. Are we ready to?
Wes, Mr. Stonebeck has his hand raised.
Just as a note, it's not a public hearing.
Oh, okay.
All right. So this is more of a consistent approval. It's not a motion to approve, is it, Ty?
Oh, yes, I would hope that
It's a
you
motion
have a
to-
motion to approve or deny.
All right, so do I hear a motion to approve or deny this application?
I move that we approve the application.
Second.
Okay, that's a second. All right, so it will be a vote tally on this because I don't think it will be unanimous. But under the absolute knowledge.
Wes, excuse me, can you just take a step back, and we are voting to approve the special event.
A one-time.
This is what we're voting on right now, is a one-time event.
Correct.
I just wanted to be sure we weren't talking special permit. We're
No,
talking
no.
special
No,
event.
that's
Okay.
coming up in January.
No, I know. Okay. I just want to make that.
Right. I mean, this is under the absolute understanding that
Yeah.
there would be no more, nor would we grant one for a single event in 2025.
Right.
They need to make this legitimate and also through the association, but that's their business.
But do we come through you first? Do we go to town hall to Ty first to start this whole process? I don't know how we go about complying.
Yes, you would you make an application for a special home
Okay,
patient.
okay. Well, I'll come in and see Ty.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to talk to the whole group, you know, health, fire, building, just so that you have a full understanding. You know, we wouldn't want to drag you through the process and then find out that, you know, there's something, you know, either the building needs to be sprinkled or you just don't know what all the other requirements might be. So let's just fully understand what we've got before us, and then we'll
Yeah.
move forward with that application.
Well, yeah, I look forward to doing this. I want to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so there's a motion to approve and a seconded to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor to approve, or to all in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3. Shelby, is your hand up or not? Oh, it
Yes.
is. Okay. And Daryl. All right, so I get 5 or 6 approval and 1 not approved. Sarah. Yeah. All right.
Well, I apologize for not doing it right, but we will make it right. So thank you all.
I'm quite sure that you will.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye.
Good night.
All right, so the next on the agenda is staff report. If we have any staff reports, yes. We have, that's the next one, subcommittees. Staff report.
Only that I did check in with Mike regarding he appeared before the Supreme Court this past week, and he said everything did go well, no surprises with regard to the Highwatch greenhouse matter. And it may be several months before the decision is actually. He seemed to think that things went quite smoothly.
Perfect. All right, then number 8. Sarah, would you like to make a report on the cannabis subcommittee?
Yeah, so we have some confirmations for guests for the January 16th meeting. We have Tyler Klimas, who is the former president of the Cannabis Regulators Association and the former executive director of the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board. He's agreed to talk with us, as has Eric Gunderson, who is the executive director of Maine's Office of Cannabis Policy, and he's directly in charge of regulatory policy there for the state of Maine. And he served as senior policy advisor to 2 speakers of the Maine House before this time, as also the chief liaison to the legislator's Cannabis Legislation Implementation Committee. So they are outside advisors advising from the state of Nevada and the state of Maine. And then we also have from the state of Connecticut, we have Andrea Comer, who's the chair of the Social Equity Council. She's confirmed to come talk to us, as is Brandon McGee, who's the executive director of the Connecticut Social Equity Council, which oversees some of the licensing here for the cannabis industry. And then we have, we're supposed to be getting 2 names from the Drug Control Division for the state of Connecticut. And we're just waiting for those names to be submitted to us. So it looks like right now we've got a pretty good group of people. I'm still trying to get somebody from the hemp industry potentially to join us to give more of an agricultural perspective for a rural area. But this is, I think, coming together very nicely. Ty has been working to get the survey together so that we can launch that at the same time. And she and I have been kind of going back and forth a little bit on making sure that everybody's got the Zoom links, and that we can start to promote this with the town. I'll be sure to get the bios and the headshots from everybody so that we have all the information on each of the speakers. And there is a public file available for all of you too, if you want to go and read anybody's biographies or if you have any questions. And certainly right now open to any questions about the work of the subcommittee. I think it's just a final statement on this end. Over the holiday season, I'll have some free time and we'll start to dig in a little bit on regulations from local areas, some of the best practices from the state, and try to draft up something that the subcommittee can take a look at in advance of the meeting on the 16th. And then hopefully by the time we have all the feedback from the townspeople around March or so, we could present some draft regulations, hopefully by the March meeting.
Thanks, Sarah. So I couldn't recall on our subcommittee meeting if we talked about what type of time allowance for this meeting. Sounds like a pretty full deck.
Yeah, I've sort of each of the speakers has come back asking what kind of questions we would anticipate, what the format would be. I've asked them to think about probably anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour long conversation with the panel with questions from the audience. It could go up to an hour and a half depending on how many people we get. You know, it's a bit of a if we're doing.
I mean, we want to limit it, right?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to limit it to an hour and a half. I think that's asking a lot of panelists to be participating in it. I'm if it's needed to have a moderator, I'm happy to moderate it, or Wes, if you would like to, that's certainly within your purview. Or if somebody else wants to do it, it's completely open. And I would guess, I mean, I just don't know for January, given the hybrid scenario, how many people we will get. Each of the people who is speaking, though, has also agreed to provide their email address afterwards. So if questions are not addressed at the time, we can direct any questions that come back to P&Z to the speakers so that they can answer them.
So I think it's a very interesting start. It'd be very to see what kind of turnout we get would be very interesting.
Yeah, and I've done panels with both Eric and Tyler before. They're very well spoken. They are also gentlemen who don't go outside of their lane of knowledge, which I think is very important for this too. They will speak directly to what they know and provide, I think, very good, precise guidance and analysis. And they don't get into personal opinion, or when they do, they will kind of clearly state that too for people. So you can ask them questions and you will get I think a very reasoned response with everybody here. And I'm glad that we do have members of the Drug Control Policy State of Connecticut coming as well.
All right, so any commissioners have any questions of Sarah and the subcommittee?
Sounds like they're doing an incredible job.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm really impressed, Sarah. That's great.
I'm impressed too.
Yeah, and if you do take a list of the other speakers, it was, you know, some folks from FDA, because it's around January 16th, weren't exactly sure, you know, whether they'd be available or not. Just some other people didn't think that this was sort of completely within their purview when we're talking about planning and zoning regulations. They were more on the health and science side. So, and this, I think, as we've stated it here and also with the subcommittee, this also does not prohibit anybody else in town from putting together a panel for a broader discussion on other topics related to this industry too, because we are again in charge of sort of one specific area in terms of regulation and planning and zoning, whereas others are more concerned with sort of health and addiction and other things.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. All right, so we'll look forward to the 16th. Thank you, sir. All right. So other communications and correspondence, the administration permits. So did I see that in the folder?
Yeah.
Permits?
I put it in there late, but it's in there.
Okay. All right.
And not a lot's going on.
Yep. But nothing really. I didn't see it. Anything to speak of?
No, no.
All right. And then the newsletter?
Yeah, your average newsletter we get quarterly. Again, nothing jumped out that was, you know, you guys can read it when you're in your spare time.
All right. So 9C, I take it, is putting into the record the correspondence from Zone back. Is that right?
Yeah, just accept it. If you want to read it, you can, but
No, I mean, I think we heard it. So I would make a motion that we put this into the meeting record.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, well, this leads us to our favorite part of the meeting, which is adjournment. So here,
I make a motion.
all right,
That we adjourn the meeting.
all right, thank you.
I haven't had dinner. I'm hungry.
All right. All right, thank you all very much.
bye-bye.
Take care.
See you.